cool. Like I've really been wanting to have something on Bleeding Cool for a really long time. It's so awesome. So incredibly ready for this.
Awesome. And I'll, if you mind if I print that a little bit, we could always use the love for Bleeding Cool.
Absolutely.
All right. So first question: how did this project, Grayson Earth One, all begin?
Grayson Earth One began after I finished a web series that was winning a bunch of awards. But I used to make web series solely for the purpose to prove that I can make TV shows, and I kind of hoped to pitch them to studios one day. And I realized that the landscape had changed and that the internet had made it so that you can literally kind of put a number behind what a person was worth. So not just for me as a content creator, but for performers. Performers are now being cast based on how many Twitter followers they have, how many YouTube subscribers they have, Facebook likes, and I know so many wonderfully talented people that they kind of inspire the projects themselves. The lead actor for Grayson Earth One, his name is Stephen McCain. He's a 2004 Olympian and a 9-year national team member for the United States in gymnastics. And he just reminded me a lot of Dick Grayson, the character. So, and then, changing it and making it like quote unquote Earth One, which just, I think today it means, in a different continuity than the main DC storylines. I did that because out of respect for the people who are doing the real stuff right now. Like, I didn't want to just copy their stories. What I wanted to do was somehow make it my own and kind of tell a story that an avid comic book reader wouldn't be able to get ahead of. I even watched The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises. All of those films, I was kind of able to pick the source material that they kind of, included. And although it was awesome, it also kind of bothered me because I had an idea of how things were going to go down. This show, no one has any idea how things are going to go down. So I think that's kind of cool.
I agree. My favorite character in comics has, for a long time been Nightwing. And I do the reviews for Grayson with the new series. And, I just think he's Batman's greatest victory. He's basically a Batman that's a little bit more of a human that we can relate to as readers. So, what is being a comic book fan other than, kind of this idea of being the best of yourself? So I definitely love his character, but I want to get to the point here. Why did you choose Dick Grayson for this reimagining? You could have chosen any character. Why Dick?
Batman and Robin have such a storied history that, and I'm quite aware of it. Like going back to the golden age, they've had some rough patches though. There were the people who tried to shut comic books down altogether. There were the comic books where Batman and Robin slept in the same bed together. There's some blemishes about being a former child superhero that I kind of wanted to get a clean slate on. And for me, it was like, and once I realized I wanted a clean slate, but I still wanted to do something with this character, I had to figure out where in the timeline I would make the break. And there was just no better place, character-wise, to kind of split these timelines than the night of Dick Grayson's parents' death. I see the timeline as being perfectly in sync, except Bruce Wayne made one different decision. He decided to mind his own business that night, and he saw a child's parents die right in front of him. And then you're kind of set off on this whirlwind of events where this kid bounces from foster home to foster home in arguably a worse city than Gotham, which is Bloodhaven. And ends up being a part of a group of gypsy kids who kind of raised themselves and survived by any means necessary. And then you look at the flip side. That's just Dick's story and what he had to go through. If you think about what Dick Grayson means to Bruce, and then you get to see him at like age 50 or 58, 60 years old, without any influence from probably the brightest spot in his life. The only person who infuses a healthy sense of humor and a sense of responsibility to something other than the city. I think it just makes for an amazing character study of the both of them. And then somehow trying to put this broken mirror back together. I think it's an amazing, the writing I have done has been very engaging. The actors are really, really excited about it. And for me, it's like, it feels a little bit more real to disassemble these characters. Yeah, we all know what we like and love about these characters, but I can say as an avid comic book reader, I've never really had to earn Bruce Wayne being Batman, like a full-on Batman. I've never had to earn Dick Grayson being a full-on superhero either. They just kind of always embodied these characteristics. Somehow what I wanted to do is to make us earn it, to strip Dick Grayson down to just a pure, negative influence from his environment, and to see if he can still somehow become the Dick Grayson we know and love. So,
very
long-windedness.
No, very good answer, sir. Very interesting. So it's kind of like Nightwing disassembled.
Absolutely. 100%.
What can you tell us about the future of this series? Obviously, we're all real excited to see a little bit more of the Batman-Dick Grayson relationship and throw in the Jason Todd, which I also saw, and this female Joker-ish character. I mean, a lot of pieces in place, and Barbara Gordon exists in this world, too. It'd be very fun to see these next things to happen.
Well, I can say that the timeline that I've chosen is kind of cool. I imagine that Bruce Wayne got to age 60 without Dick Grayson being around. And Dick Grayson is now 27, 28. Jason Todd is 17. Barbara Gordon is 28. And they're all kind of around and alive, luckily. But Bruce has gone through essentially the events of The Dark Knight Returns, but I kind of feel like he would have never have adopted any kids because he never took that chance on Dick. You get what I'm saying? He never learned what it can mean to be close to someone like that. So there's a critical part of Bruce Wayne's character missing, and we will definitely evaluate that. We're going to see an aged Bruce Wayne who's too stubborn to admit that he needs help. Post The Dark Knight Returns, and probably at the very beginnings of an environment that's changing technologically and heading toward more like the animated show Batman Beyond. We've already dropped some hints about that in episode 1.5, and so we got this real sort of punk rock in transition to a technologically advanced sort of state, and we have a Bruce Wayne who's not as rich as he used to be, who's part of his company has been acquired by Eric Powers, and we get to evaluate that and see how that goes. We're going to definitely see more of a Bruce Wayne closer to that in Batman Beyond. Just very crotchety, very very ornery, but very still physical enough to do something himself. You see what I'm saying? Like, his ailments are slowing him down a bit, but he's still very much like a physical specimen. And I think on Dick Grayson's side, what we're going to see is a character. We get to definitely figure out where he's been and how he's come to be. Like, if Bruce Wayne didn't adopt him, who did?